As I've mentioned before, Shakespeare is very good at introducing his characters to an audience as soon as those characters step onto the stage. And the reasons for that is, he doesn't have a lot of room for error. He's got a live audience, only a limited amount of time, and he's got to tell people who these characters are and how to respond to them. That's probably no more true than in Act 1, Scene 1 of Othello, when Iago steps onto the stage and he's talking with Rodrigo. Rodrigo, is paying Iago to help woo Desdemona, but they've just discovered that Desdemona and Othello have gotten married in secret. When Rodrigo's complaining, what's the deal? And Iago said, "'Tis blood, but you'll not hear me. If ever I did dream of such a matter, abhor me. Abhor me." Iago says that not just to Rodrigo, but he says this to an audience. And in case an audience didn't hear this or didn't take this in, he has Iago repeat this. Rodrigo says, "Thou toldst me thou did hold him in thy hate." Iago says, "Despise me if I do not. 3 great ones of the city in personal suit to make me his lieutenant off cap to him. And by the faith of man I know my price. I am no worth a place." And in this opening speech where he starts talking not about Rodrigo, but about Cassio, Iago gives an audience his first motive, right? And Iago's motives are always suspect as to why he hates the Moor. And the reason he hates the Moor is he's been passed over for a promotion. Cassio has been promoted Othello's lieutenant, but he considers Cassio a Florentine. And what Iago is saying here, he's a native son. He's a native of one of these important Italian states. By the way, keep in mind Iago's name. What kind of name is Iago? Italian? No. A fellow almost damned in a fair wife that never set a squadron in the field, nor the division of a battle knows more than the spinster, unless the bookish theoric, wherein the togaed counsels can propose as masterly as he. Mere prattle without practice is all his soldiership. In short, in Iago's version of things, Cassio is just a fancy West Point graduate with a big degree, but no real battle experience and the right connections. Iago, on the other hand, has been battle tested. He's something like a sergeant, who's been to war with Othello and proven himself. But what Iago suggests to us is he's been passed over for promotion by Othello, and that's why he's angry. That's at least the first motivation that Iago expresses here. But again, Iago presents us with that paradox, the paradox of the pathological liar. I'm a pathological liar. Do you believe me? When Iago says these things, in other words, we know he's lying to Rodrigo. We know he's lying to characters on the stage. But when, if ever, is he telling an audience the truth? That makes him really something of a complicated character. He says, and in fact, and he's the one that says, "Don't trust me." He says, "Whip me, whip me when people can tell me who I'm telling the truth." Lines 59. Act 1, Scene 1, line 59. "Why the more would I not be Iago? And following him I follow but myself. Heaven is my judge, not I for love and duty, but seeming so for my peculiar end. For when my outward action doth demonstrate the native act and figure of my heart in compliment extern, 'tis not long after but I will wear my heart upon my sleeve for daws to peck at. I am not what I am." Let me paraphrase it. When I reveal what I'm truly thinking on the outside, then you will know I've given up. I've put my heart out there for birds to chip away at. He says to an audience, "Don't trust me. Don't trust me." But do you trust him when he says, "Don't trust me"? But anyways, it's at this moment that we meet Brabantio, and we have the scenes I discussed in an earlier tutorial, where it is Iago who tries to use racialized language to antagonize Brabantio and make Brabantio suspicious. "Even now, very now, an old black ram is tupping your white ewe. Arise, arise, awake the snorting citizens with a bell." Skip down, he says, "Hurry, sir, you'll have your daughter covered with a Barbary horse. You'll have your nephews neigh to you. You'll have coursers for cousins and Jeanettes for Germans." And again, Brabantio's response to this is, "What a profane wretch art thou! Who is out there speaking this ugly language? Iago, of course, doesn't reveal himself. Rodrigo does. And Brabantio tells an audience that, hey, Rodrigo, I know you've been around my daughter, but I've told you she is not for you. But at any rate, Brabantio, like any father, is upset, even though he admires Othello in many respects, and he's the one we discover that's brought him around the house. He is not terribly happy that Othello and Desdemona have gotten married in secret.